Dr. Christopher Hux is a physical therapist of 6 years, running coach, and the owner of Phase Forward Therapy and Wellness. He focuses on serving his clients through a transformational approach consisting of injury prevention, treating injuries, and reaching past their goals. I'll share some more information about him in the chat, but other than that, Chris, why don't you start by telling us about Phase Forward?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for coming on, guys. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I'm Dr. Christopher Hux, and I started Phase Forward Therapy and Wellness probably almost a year ago now. I didn't really start pouring into it, I would say, till like March, April of this year when I was furloughed. I was actually furloughed from my company, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. Open up my own business and do it in the physical therapy realm, of course. So it's something I was able to do, and I kind of my goal or my approach with it is a more holistic or wellness approach. I like to look at the whole person versus someone just coming in and trying to get treatment for their knee or back. I try to look wider than that and try to look at the mental side of it. Where's this pain coming from? Even in my afternoon Phase Forward, I use a wellness approach to address different things, like what's your outlook in life. We go over your diet, and then we also go over your goals, the why. Like, why do you want to heal this injury? What do you want to get back to? So I really kind of look for the why of curing this injury and whatnot. So and then also with Phase Forward, I specialize in runners, especially new runners, people thinking about getting into a running program, especially those people that are hesitant, or they've been wanting to do it for a while, but they don't know where to start. Or if someone just is starting a running program, I like to help them with injury prevention and just make sure they stay injury-free, pain-free, so they can hit their goals. Whatever it is, 5K, 10K, maybe they want to hit a marathon. I'm going to help them on that journey that and everything. So that's a little bit about Phase Forward.
But so tell me why that stuff matters, the things going on in people's heads, why that is an important part as opposed to just sending people out into the street to run.
Yeah, great question. Great question. So running's not easy. Running's not easy. From my own personal experience, my own story, I picked up running about 4 years ago, and it's something I wanted to do a lot earlier in that. Back in middle school, high school, and then even when I was in PT school, I always wanted to pick up running because I knew the benefits of it. But I always had excuses. My mindset, I would say stuff like, my body, I don't have the appropriate body for it. It's painful, and then being a physical therapist, I would kind of psych myself out a little bit. Oh, maybe this is causing this injury. So then I would refrain from it and always go to something easier. So running just, when I compare it to other fitness things, you really need your mindset right. You really need just the complete focus, and your desire of it has to be greater than your reason to quit. Because you're going to want to quit. Each milestone, you're going to want to quit. It's painful, it's hard, but having the right mindset is going to propel you forward and allow you to hit the milestones, the goals, and et cetera, et cetera.
So what are maybe the first three things that you tell somebody when they want to start a running program?
So the first three things is, and this is actually perfect because I was talking to Landon about this morning. He sent me an email, but I figure out are they running with anyone? Like, do they have any accountability with the running? So that could be a partner, that could be a running group, um, anything like that. So that's what really helped me to get to the point where I ran a half marathon. So I believe in, that just connecting with people, socializing, and keeping each other accountable. So that's the first thing I ask. The second thing is, again, the why. Why do they want to start a running journey? Why do they want to add this to their fitness. So trying to find kind of the goal of running for them, and then once we find it, it's beneficial to put it on paper. So not only me, I'm putting it down in my notes, but they need to actually write it down, write that goal, because if it's not written down, it's going to be harder for it to happen. And then the third thing I would say, um, I would pick their brain, like when do you feel like your ideal time for running is? Like, are you more a morning person? Are you a night person? So trying to figure out a consistent schedule so then you can actually have it down and follow through day by day. So making sure someone's on the appropriate schedule is crucial as well.
And Barbara had a question that will kind of get us into, I think, the injury work that you do. Actually, Barbara, do you want to unmute and ask?
To explain, I ran for more than 30 years, anywhere from a half an hour to 90 minutes a day. But I found that the repetitive motion, the fact that you use the same joints over and over again, that slamming that heel down, or in my case, I was kind of a toe runner. I'd land on the ball of my foot and then rock backwards, which is sort of a sprinter stance. But over time, I had minor injuries, but finally what stopped me from running was I was getting very, very severe pain at the top of my foot, on my right foot. And it got to the point where it was happening every single day, every step I took. So I actually moved off to do race walking, but then started a cardio class called Body Combat at Les Mills. And they do a martial arts type choreography to music, and it uses your entire body because you're punching, you're kicking, you're jumping, you're doing all sorts of other things. They do lots of formats, but I found it gave me, if you really go all out, the same cardio effect I was getting with running, which is hard otherwise to get, but it uses your entire body. And I was just wondering if anybody else has encountered that, because that was the only thing I found after much searching that gave me the same cardio workout I got from running.
Very good, very good. So this is the perfect question. I was just reading about this the other day. So running, when it comes to joints, running, instead of being at the cause of the injury, it actually exposes injury. Is running the motion. So a lot of people think, pounding the pavement, you're wearing the joints out. You're actually, the joints don't have the greatest blood flow. So when you're running, you're actually increasing the blood flow. And if there is a previous injury, let's take the knees for example. Running is a high demand activity, so it is going to expose the injury rather than actually causing. A lot of people think it causes like arthritis or different injuries like that, but it actually exposes. So that being said, what you're doing is awesome. That is a great way to what I call is cross train. It's a way to supplement your running. So doing the full body, finding other ways to do cardio, with that training you do, you get a lot of resistance. So then you're building up all the muscles around the ankle joint. That's where you've sustained the injury, and keeping those ligaments, those tendons, those bones nice and strong. So I'm a believer in cross training and not just doing running, adding things to the running program. So.
I've got a friend I know who did a lot of running, and it's been probably about 10 years since he has, because he started having all this back trouble that he wasn't able to explain. He still has the back problems even though he hasn't run in almost 10 years. What should he do? He needs to find somebody like you, I know.
Yeah. So back pain is a very common thing in all sorts of activities, but running is one of them. Again, running's not necessarily the cause of the back pain; it's being caused from something else. But the key to, well, I'll say this first. Like, a lot of runners think back pain is normal, so they'll just run. They'll run through it. Like 9 out of 10 runners that I treat, they're just going to run through the back pain. It's not going to prevent them from doing it because they're just they got that runner's high. They're so driven by the running. But in your friend's case, that's where you want to add a lot of core work, stabilization. So actually strengthening the muscles of the low back muscles. I'm not sure exactly what kind of sensation he's getting with the pain, but you really want to strengthen the core, the back muscles, and get those nice and strong. So when you're doing the running, those muscles are turned on for you and not turned off. So core program, resistance training is something I would recommend for someone with back pain with running.
Yeah, interesting. And I don't know where it hurt on his back because I always tuned it out when he whined about it. But so I don't know like what his specifics are. But Landon, so you have started running and using Dr. Hux for accountability. Is that what you said? I don't mean to
Yeah,
put
I'm
you on the
trying
spot,
to.
but
Yeah, no worries. So I'm healthy. I'm just maybe lazy and not running or working out as much as I should. So I asked Dr. Hux, like, hey, what's the best way to keep me accountable and actually be running every day? So he sent me, he bullet pointed out some ideas for me to actually, to stay consistent and to hold me accountable. And I know his first point was to, find a running partner. So one of my big excuses is that I'm always too busy, with work, that, it's hard for me to find a good time. So what I did was I reached out to a couple of people on my team to see, instead of doing our weekly meetings, if they'd actually go running with me for our weekly meetings and talk about work then. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, you're muted, Randy.
they're all on board for that.
It's a work in progress.
I gotta say, I would probably quit before I did that, but that's me. Um, so, Chris, what other tips do you have for people who are struggling with, and it may not be laziness exactly, won't give Landon that hard a time, but that motivation to get going?
Some other tips would be, figure out the goal and, write stuff out, if you have the drive to do a 5K, 10K, something like that, actually schedule it out. Because once it's scheduled, then you're gonna have that fire on you. The days you don't want to run, be like, I have to run because I don't want to be that person that finishes last in the 5K, for instance. So so actually scheduling that, having that planned, and then actually with your schedule, writing it out. So with Landon, I was recommending for people that love doing everything on their phone, they can do download what's called Strava. Strava is an app. Actually, Jeff Jones uses it as well. Him and I communicate in it. That's an app to again just schedule runs out and keep you accountable. And or you could do a running diary. So actually, for people that are more old school that like to use the paper, you can get a running diary and track your runs. So that's what's going to help you just you can always look back at that and see where you've gotten. If you're gonna have a day or a week, you're like, you're gonna get down on yourself and be like, I didn't do good this week. I didn't hit my goal of 20 miles. But if you look back and you had some wins, previous weeks, and you can still celebrate, where you've gotten. I know Tom Heil talks about that a lot. We need to celebrate the those wins versus focusing on maybe the things we didn't reach for that week.
You mentioned Jeff Jones's name, and he has put a great question in chat. Jeff, do you want to ask it?
Sure. So, Chris, my life is now sitting and Zooming, and then I sit and Zoom. So, what are there any stretches that you can think of, or that would be good for runners when I sit or stand and Zoom all day? Again,
Some Zoom stretches. So one that comes to mind is just standing on one leg. So this is something you can do.
okay.
Zoom, brushing your teeth, anything. Just literally balancing on one leg. So maybe you want to do a Zoom meeting and just kind of alternate, where you're just balancing one leg, work on one side, and then switch the side.
Am I the only one doing this?
Right now you are, but you're
Yeah,
doing a
yeah.
great job demonstrating it for us.
Yeah. So standing
This
on
is
that
good,
one.
Chris. This is really good.
Yeah. Then you're going to work on ankle stability, balance. Because with running, you're alternating between legs. You're never on both legs at the same time. So you want to do stretches, exercises that train that it's called single leg stability.
Yeah.
So start building that up. So that's a great, Jeff, that's a great beginner exercise. And then you can progress from there. Then you can do single leg heel raises. It's actually coming up on the toes. You can do like single leg squats, single leg deadlifts, stuff like that. And that's really gonna work on that whole leg, that core, as you're doing the propelling motion.
Barbara seems to like that. She said that balance is another one of the challenges that she's always had. So sounds like it helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great question, Jeff, because even for non-runners like me, it is very difficult right now when there's just so much sitting.
Yeah. And two, Jeff, just alternating. I don't know if you have a standing desk, but alternating between sitting and standing is another awesome thing. That's actually something I recently started. I didn't buy an expensive desk. I just have a cheap desk and I set it up on some books. For my large collection of books, I'm able to kind of bring it up to eye level. So that's something you can do too. Alternate between sitting and standing.
Nice. What are some of the other things that you're seeing right now with people who, their running life may be different than it was a year ago just because of everything that's been going on? Like, what extra challenges are people facing now because of COVID-19 as it relates to running or injuries or their bodies or motivation?
I think the biggest thing is people don't know where to start. This could be someone that's new to running or an experienced runner, where they got to a solid point prior to COVID, then they just stopped, and now they're having a hard time getting back on track, kind of taking those steps forward. So I've been working with a lot of patients. Either they have injuries or not, but helping them just kind of take that first action step. I think that's what just a lot of people are dealing with. They don't know where to begin. They don't know how to take that first action step. So I'm doing a lot of like motivation, a lot of, again, working on mindset and personal growth. I do a lot of that during my treatments. So then they can hit those goals and move forward. So those are probably the biggest ones. Just working on action, mindset, and taking those steps forward with people.
And I love that you focus on that. And you mentioned Jeff, and you mentioned our friend Tom Heil, other people who have these kinds of transformational approaches to the work that they do, and that's always an inspiration to me because I can also be pretty cynical sometimes. So I always like to see that, and Lydia as well, who is also very transformational in her work as well. Does anybody have any other questions or any other comments they want to throw out? Or Chris, is there anything else on your mind?
Oh, I'd say this: shoes are so important. Like running is one of the cheaper sports, but make sure you get the right shoes. Make sure you invest in some good shoes as well. That's what's going to really um, injury prevent injuries. It's gonna help your running and everything. So make sure you put the time into it, and it's all right to pay a little bit more for shoes that will last longer. But
Lydia wants specifics. What are your suggestions on shoes?
so I would say, instead of going to like a Walmart or Target, like a chain, go to like an actual running store or a physical therapist, someone that specializes in the foot and mechanics, so then they can help you get the right shoes. We can actually go over gait training. We can go over running running mechanics, actually putting those shoes on. So that's what a lot of running stores do now. They'll allow you to actually put the shoes on, and you can just run down the street a little bit and see if it feels right. And it's good also to get a shoe size a little bit bigger, so that you have room, and it's preventing friction of the blisters as well.
So that's interesting that all of that still goes into finding the right shoe as opposed to going to Foot Locker and it's the right shoe if they have the right size in the back, and then that's it. But that you still factor in all of these other parts to it. So you can help people find the right shoe if they come to you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we'll go over different walking, running mechanics. I can see how their foot is like when they're balancing, pronator or supinator. There's some different things I can test to see
Okay.
what shoe would be appropriate for them.
Interesting. Any closing thoughts, Dr. Hawks?
Um, I'd say the biggest thing is it's all right to stay uncomfortable. You know, running. I always relate running to business, and now that I'm a business owner, you know, if you're staying uncomfortable, that means you're taking the right steps. So get comfortable, staying uncomfortable. That's my little closing quote there with your running journey, and be easy on yourself. You know, give yourself grace. Don't put too much shame and guilt on yourself.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. And thanks for all the great information. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and for the questions. I always like doing these, so as long as people will show up, we'll keep doing coffee breaks. Monday, Jeff is up to teach us how to breathe, relax, and be ready for the year ahead, whatever that is going to be. So I won't share the link because everybody here knows how to find it. So hope everybody has a good week and that we can have coffee again Monday. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Chris. Bye.
Thanks, Chris.